What if the love of your life wasn't human? This story is a whirlwind of romance, comedy, and breathtaking fantasy. But beneath the laughter lies a deeper tale of greed, destruction, and the battle to protect the ocean's greatest secret. Welcome back to Flick Recap. Today, I'll be telling you about the 2016 movie, The Mermaid. Enjoy the story. In a world where everyone is greedy, a group of elite business tycoons gather to bid on a virgin island known as the Green Gulf. The bidding war quickly goes into astronomical figures, but in the end, billionaire Lou emerges victorious, securing the land for an outrageous $20 billion. What he doesn't know is that the entire auction was a carefully orchestrated scheme designed to drain his fortune. The island is a conservation zone, home to protected wildlife, making any form of real estate development impossible. To celebrate, Lou hosts a lavish celebration at his mansion and his rivals arrive in style, including the flamboyant billionaire Cheng, who arrives in his flying jacket. The elite circle wastes no time in revealing their cruel joke and then mock Lou for falling prey. However, their laughter soon fades when Lou calmly tells them a secret. He had actually obtained the permit for construction after proving that the dolphins no longer live there anymore. Their mood shifts instantly. The same people who ridiculed Lou moments ago now expose their true greed, especially Cheng, whose arrogance turns into desperation. However, as he tries to leave in anger, his flying jetpack malfunctions, sending him flying randomly in the air. Lou watches with amusement as his adversary flails helplessly. The night continues with an extravagant party as Lou is surrounded by beautiful women who were eager to celebrate his success. One of Lou's fellow billionaires, Ruolin, seizes the opportunity to test the loyalty of the women. Removing her luxurious watch, she tosses it into the pool, declaring that whoever retrieves it may keep it. When Lou reveals that it's worth $8 million, there is instant chaos. The women, initially poised and elegant, all jump into the water in search of the fortune watch. This made Ruolin smirk as she had successfully shown Lou that the women were mere gold diggers. So, Ruolin turns her attention to Lou, offering herself as a business partner in exchange for a cut of his development project. Using her charm and seductive abilities, she successfully secures a deal. But as the night continues, a unique woman disrupts the festivities. Her face is painted with strange makeup, and before anyone can react, Lou's bodyguards tackle her to the ground. Lou eventually stops the chaos and demands to know who she is. Strangely, they discover that she isn't on the guest list. The woman introduces herself as Sean and, rather than begging for release, she shamelessly flirts with Lou, giving him her phone number and offering herself for a date. Amused but unimpressed, Lou orders his men to take her away. Later that night, Sean casually rides off on her skateboard, riding into the night. Soon, she makes her way to a hidden cave near the Green Gulf, where a concealed passage leads her to a massive boat housing a large group of refugees. But these aren't ordinary people, they are merfolk, the last remnants of an underwater civilization who have been forced away from their home. Lou's construction plans involved placing sonar-emitting machines in the ocean, which drove away marine life and, unknowingly, devastating the merpeople's existence. Among them is their leader, Octopus, who vows vengeance against Lou. With nowhere else to go, the merfolk plot Lou's downfall, concocting a plan to use their most beautiful woman to seduce and ultimately eliminate him. Unfortunately, their so-called assassin, an elderly woman, struggles to distinguish between allies and enemies, while Shan's seducing abilities need some working on. As they anxiously await Lou's call in their own world, Lou is having an alone time with Ruolin. However, his mood changes when Ruolin reminds him that, despite their similar wealth, they are not equals. She was born into privilege, while Lou clawed his way to the top via hard work. Though she delivers the message with a smile, her words were sore. Realizing that Ruolin has never truly respected him, Lou decides to call Sean for a date. He tells her he'll pick her up in 10 minutes, then turns to Ruolin, expressing his regret for ever making her his partner. Without hesitation, he walks away, choosing his pride over pleasure with Ruolin. Meanwhile, the merpeople begin gathering their weapons, preparing for an ambush the moment Lou steps into their territory. Eventually Sean steps outside, dressed in a charming gown, expecting to see Lou. Instead, she is greeted by his bodyguards, who escorts her to Lou's office building. There, she is informed that the boss will be arriving soon. Wasting no time, Sean poisons the water the moment the secretary leaves. However, instead of Lou, the head of security arrives and immediately notices her suspicious behavior. He sees her gripping the glasses too tightly and quickly senses that she may have poisoned one. To confirm his suspicions, he offers her one of the drinks. Sean was panicked, and in her nervousness, she forgets which one contains the poison. With no way out, she takes a sip from one of the glass as she braces for the worst. Seconds pass, and Shan's face twisted in pain. The security guard watches in alarm, until she suddenly grimaces and pulls out a lemon that was in her drink. He laughs at her overreaction, but moments later, foam spills from his mouth, and he collapses to the ground. After seeing the poison take effect, Sean neutralizes it with alcohol, but unfortunately, Lou's men, unaware of what just happened, serve their boss more lemonade from the same cup. He once again slumps to the floor after drinking. Amidst the chaos, Sean finally spots Lou emerging from his office. Realizing this is her chance, she follows closely, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When she tries to throw a sea urchin at him, she is suddenly hit by an object Lou had angrily thrown at his employees, which smacks her square in the face. Lou, who is too preoccupied with scolding his employees for their incompetence, remains completely unaware of the assassination attempt. In the meantime, Sean scrambles behind a piece of furniture, setting up another attack. But once more, she fails to get her aim right, and the urchin bounces off a glass and hits her in the face yet again. All her attempts to attack Lou end up failing, and this repeated failures nearly render her unconscious. Refusing to admit defeat, she hides beneath the couch, waiting for Lou to move closer. But Lou, in a moment of joy, begins dancing to his favorite song, Invincible. With his timing, every move he makes coincidentally dodges Shan's attacks. His twists and turns keep him miraculously unharmed as she swings wildly beneath him. Then, without realizing it, Lou steps on Shan's hand as he continues dancing. Frustrated, Sean makes one last attempt, as she attempts to stab his foot, but the blade pierces her hand instead because Lou has stepped away. As Lou turns his back, Sean shakes off the urchins and lunges once more. But before she can strike, Lou swings a golf club, hitting her square in the face. Finally seeing Sean in the room, Lou stares in shock and confusion, wondering how she had gotten there. Sean immediately switches tactics and proceeds to try to flirt her way out, but Lou has no patience for games. Assuming she is there for money, he throws wads of cash at her, expecting her to take the cash and leave. To his surprise, she refuses. No one has ever rejected his wealth before, and this leaves him completely baffled. Just as Lou is about to walk away, he spots Rulan entering the room, and a sudden idea sparks in his mind. Wanting to make her jealous, he spins around dramatically and pulls Sean into his arms, acting as if they are passionately into each other. Rulan's eyes darken with jealousy, just as he had hoped. After Lou accepted Shan's suggestion to go out for dinner, he was frustrated by her choice of restaurant. It was a modest street-side eatery. Horrified by the idea, he refuses to eat food he says is unworthy of his status, disgusted by the idea of eating like a commoner. However, when Lou eventually gives in and eats the roasted chickens, the taste takes him back to his childhood, a time when his family was so poor that they had to steal chickens just like these to survive. Overcome with emotion, he begins to cry, remembering the vow he made to himself, to amass such great wealth that he would never have to suffer again. However, Sean dismisses his ambitions as meaningless, reminding him that no amount of money will matter if the world is left without clean water or air. Impressed by her ideology, Lou offers her a check for $1 million, but Sean, without hesitation, tosses it into the fire. She insists that money holds no value to her. She is only there because she genuinely enjoys his company. As they talk, Sean suddenly starts singing, and Lou quickly realizes that they share the same taste in music. Captivated by this, he joins in, their voices harmonizing in a duet so powerful that Sean accidentally releases her mermaid voice. The sheer force of her voice shatters every glass object in the vicinity and also blows off Lou's fake mustache. The two then spend the rest of the evening exploring the carnival, with Sean pulling Lou onto ride after ride. For the first time in years, the businessman allows himself to let loose, experiencing pure joy as fragments of his childhood memories resurface. But the night's bliss is soon interrupted when they return to the island where Sean claims to live. Just as they arrive, she receives a call from Octopus, informing her that their ambush was in place. Lou, unaware of the looming danger, offers to walk her toward her home, holding her hand as a connection begins to form between them. Before stepping inside, Sean asks Lou a question. If this were his last moment alive, what would he want to see? Without hesitation, he responds that he would only want to look at her. Deeply moved, Sean decides to reveal her true nature. She begins removing her clothing, attempting to show him her mermaid form. However, Lou is unable to see anything in the darkness, so he suggests they go inside so he can get a better look. Smiling to herself, Sean closes the door behind her, and Lou mistakes her actions for playing hard to get. Inside the house, Octopus rages over the failed ambush attempt. Meanwhile, Lou, completely unaware of the plot against him, calls Sean moments later, eagerly asking her out on another date. Overhearing this, the Mere people erupt in fury as they demand Lou's death, but Sean remains torn between her mission and her growing feelings for him. The next day, Lou takes Sean to a sushi restaurant, unaware that Octopus has devised a new plan. Disguised as a chef, he prepares to assassinate Lou personally. However, just as he is about to strike, a group of bodyguards suddenly appears, forcing him to improvise. To avoid suspicion, Octopus pretends that his tentacles are the meal and begins cooking them on the grill. While enduring unimaginable pain, he desperately struggles to maintain the act as the chefs unknowingly make things worse, slicing off his tentacles to make the meal. Lu, completely unsuspecting of the suffering, mistakes Octopus' expressions of agony for an elaborate performance. As the agony reaches its peak, Octopus can no longer withstand the torment. In a final act of desperation, he releases a massive ink cloud, using the distraction to escape through the window. Sean quickly tries to cover for him, insisting that it was all part of the show. Meanwhile, Lu, uninterested in the bizarre spectacle, has something far more important on his mind. He suddenly pulls out a wedding ring and places it on Shan's finger, proposing to her. In that moment, he realizes that nothing in his life has ever mattered more than her. Sean struggles to accept this and even calls Lu a fool. That was when she shows him her knife, and confesses that her intent was to kill him. However, Lu swiftly knocks the weapon from her hand and pulls her into a passionate kiss. Overwhelmed by the conflicting emotions, tears stream down Shan's face. Their moment abruptly ends when Rulan enters the room, forcing Sean to flee in embarrassment. Rulan is enraged upon discovering Lu's feelings for another woman. When she demands his attention, he tells her that he no longer has any interest in her and also tells her to stop following him. That night, back at their hideout, Octopus is livid over yet another failed attempt to eliminate their target. Suspicious of Shan's betrayal, he accuses her of falling in love with Lu. Sean vehemently denies it, but Octopus demands that she look him in the eyes and swear her loyalty. Before she can respond, the old woman switches on the ceiling fan, causing the octopus's tentacles to roll wildly in frustration. Their tense moment is cut short by a sudden knock at the door. Sean opens it to find Lu standing there and asking for forgiveness. Before he can fully process what's happening, his eyes widen at the sight of Shan's fishtail, and even more mere people filling the room. Realizing the truth, Lu attempts to flee, but the mere people overpower him and knock him unconscious. When Lu eventually regains consciousness, he is met with Octopus's furious gaze. The creature points to the wounded tribespeople who were all victims of Lu's company, and declares that Lu must die for his crimes. Just as Octopus prepares to strike, Lu pleads for his life. Killing him won't stop the sonars as he tells Octopus that he is the only one who has the power to disable them. He insists that he never intended for the machines to cause such destruction and he begs for a second chance. But Octopus refuses to listen and begins choking Lu with his tentacles. At the last moment, Sean makes her decision. She cuts off Octopus's tentacle and sets Lu free. Everyone stares at her in shock. Feeling betrayed, Octopus boils with fury and lunges at her, but ultimately he cannot bring himself to kill one of his own. Determined to make things right, Lu rushes to the police station to report what he has seen. However, as he describes the mere people and sketches out a suspect, the officers struggle to contain their laughter, nearly choking from amusement. Realizing that no one will take him seriously, Lu decides to take matters into his own hands. So, he goes to the sonar facility and instructs the doctors to test the machine on him. The powerful shockwave rips through his body, sending him to the ground in excruciating pain. He eventually tells them to stop and the doctors inform him that they had only used 10% of the machine's power. Horrified by the damage he has unknowingly inflicted on the mere people, Lu immediately calls for the company's sonar program to be shut down. However, the board members refuse, telling him that construction has already begun, and there is too much at stake. Just then Rulan arrives. After listening to the board's objections, she unexpectedly sides with Lu, ordering the sonars to be deactivated. Relieved that Rulan finally understands him, he reveals everything to her, telling her that the mere people, their suffering, and how they are trapped on the island because of the sonars. Rulan's expression remains unreadable until she reveals the truth that her team has been searching for mermaids for years. Not only have they found evidence of their existence, but they have already collected multiple dead specimens. Now, with live ones within reach, they stand to make an unimaginable fortune. Realizing Rulan's true intentions, Lu starts to panic. He immediately tries to call Sean, but she doesn't answer. With no time to waste, he speeds toward the island, hoping to warn the mere people in time. Meanwhile, Rulan has already mobilized her forces, ordering her men to capture and kill the mere people like animals. The mercenaries arrive by boat, only to find the island empty. But as they dive into the waters below, they discover the mere people hiding in an underwater cavern. The humans immediately unleash a hail of bullets, firing relentlessly at the mere people. The water quickly turns red as mere people fall one by one with their blood staining the ocean. The relentless assault forces the mere people out of hiding, but their desperate attempts to evade the bullets leave them stranded in the open. Showing no sympathy, the mercenaries close in, catching their targets and putting them in bags. As the chaos continues, Sean leaps from the water in an attempt to escape the flying weapons, but the large number of attackers quickly overwhelm her and cut off any means of escape. Just as her capture seems inevitable, the octopus arrives. He uses his powerful tentacles to draw Sean away from the danger and then sends her flying towards the waterfall. However, a massive net catches her midair, and she crashes to the ground. Before she can recover, the mercenaries prepare to attack her once more. But as they approached her, a sudden tidal wave crashed into them, sweeping them into the water. The elder mermaid emerges, determined to protect her people. With a mighty swing of her enormous tail, she slams the water, unleashing massive waves that engulf the men. The force of the attack sends them crashing against the walls, injuring them one by one. Moments later, one of the men launches a grenade towards the elder, exploding on impact and flinging her across the boat into the ocean. That was when she discovers that the sonars have been deactivated. So, she called for the rest to head for the open sea. As Sean tries to follow, she is captured by a hook that prevents her from escaping. As she continues to struggle, the floating debris prevents her from escaping and the mercenaries close in. Just then, a helicopter with Rulan inside gets close and Rulan fires a missile at Sean. The explosion rips through the water, sending Shan's wounded body landing on the surface. As she gasps for breath, the men surround her. Rulan, who is now thirsting for revenge, orders them to finish the job. All this while, Lu, who is stuck in traffic, frantically tries to call for reinforcements, but his men are also trapped. He becomes frustrated until he spots Cheng, the billionaire who owns a jetpack. Seeing this as his chance, Lu wastes no time. He arrives just as the mercenaries prepare to fire at Sean. He lands between them and Sean, ordering them to back off. But Rulan refuses to back down and in her desperation, she fires her weapon, striking the jetpack and sending Lu crashing to the ground. Despite his injuries, Lu refuses to abandon Sean. Intent on saving her, Lu carries Sean and walks towards the water. Rulan continues to fire at him, hitting him multiple times. However, Lu remained resolute as he reached the water's edge and using the last of his strength, threw Sean into the sea. He then collapses just as the police arrive at the scene. Many years later, a young author arrives at Lu's home, eager to uncover the truth about the Mer people. But Lu simply chuckles, dismissing the tales as nothing more than myths. As the interview draws to a close, Lu reveals a shocking twist: he is no longer single. He calls his wife, Shan, to sit beside him as she has now seamlessly blended in as a human. The story ends with the two diving into the ocean, where Shan reveals the breathtaking wonders of her world. At last, she is reunited with her people, and together, she and Lu embrace their new life between their two worlds. And that is the movie, The Mermaid. If you enjoyed this recap, why don't you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our next recap? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.